Podcasts aren't just entertainment anymore. They're shaping industries, building brands, and driving business growth. In this video, we'll dive into the 10 powerful reasons why your brand needs a podcast and how you can make it happen. Whether you're a startup or a Fortune 500 company, this is your opportunity to build authority, engage your audience, and stay ahead of the competition. Let's get started. Reason number 1. Establish thought leadership. When you position yourself as an authority in your industry, people listen. Hosting a podcast featuring in-depth discussion with experts and industry leaders not only builds the trust, but puts your brand at the forefront of innovation. Think about it. When was the last time you trusted a brand, truly trusted a brand? Chances are they're not just selling, they're educating. Reason number 2, engage your target audience. A podcast creates a direct, authentic connection with your audience. Imagine sitting down with your customers, answering their questions, and discussing their experiences. It's not just content, it's community. And when your audience feels heard, they stick around. Reason number 3, expand brand reach. Want to reach new audiences? Podcasting helps you tap into communities that align with your brand's values. With the right guests and cross-promoting strategies, your reach can grow exponentially. It's not just about talking, it's about being discovered. Reason number 4, repurpose content. You're already creating content, why not maximize it? Turn blog posts into in-depth conversations, YouTube videos into podcast episodes, and repurpose every conversation into engaging social media clips. One recording session can fuel your content strategy for weeks. Number 5, build partnerships and relationships. A podcast is the perfect networking tool. Invite industry leaders, potential clients, and strategic partners. Strategic partners creates organic opportunities for collaboration. It's like having a business meeting, but way more engaging. Reason number 6, humanize your brand. People connect with people, not corporations. Show the human side of your brand with authentic conversations, team stories, and customer experience. The more relatable your brand, the more loyal your audience. Reason number 7, enhance customer education. Customers want to get the most out of your product. A podcast can offer tutorials, tips, and best practices that educate and empower your audience. An informed customer is a loyal customer. Reason number 8, boost SEO and online presence. Podcasts aren't just audio, they're powerful SEO tools. Optimized titles, description, and embedding them into a blog post can help your brand rank higher in search results. More visibility means more leads. Reason number 9, generate leads. Podcasts can be lead generating machines. Whether exclusive content, premium episodes, or gated downloads, every episode is an opportunity to convert listeners into customers. Also, you can use it to reach out to guests to convert them into customers. It's marketing, but with a personal touch. Reason number 10, stay ahead of your competitors. Your competitors are talking. Are you? A podcast keeps you on the cutting edge, positioning your brand as a forward-thinking industry leader. If you're not leading the conversation, someone else will. So now that you've kind of got a high-level overview of each, let's get more into each one, talk about who should be hosting, who you should be targeting from a guest and an audience perspective, how to reach that listener, and then the ideal length of the actual podcast. Thought leadership. Well, obviously, I think that thought leadership should come from industry leaders, executives, or people who have really deep knowledge of a topic and are confident on camera. In this type of podcast, you don't necessarily need guests. It could be a conversation between co-hosts. However, if you do have guests on, think about other leaders in the industry analysts, or innovators who might elevate your audience base. Who is listening to this type of show? I think in this case, industry peers, professionals, and decision makers who value this type of insight will be your ideal audience. The best way to reach this audience is promoting through LinkedIn. A lot of those individuals who you're looking to communicate with are present on LinkedIn. You can also use that information and cross promote via a newsletter. This show should be between 30 and 45 minutes, no longer than that. I think in this type of format, if you go too far beyond 45 minutes, you're going to start losing your audience. You're going to start using too much jargon. You're going to get too much into the weeds. Reason number 2. Engaging with the target audience. This should likely be hosted by a team member or brand ambassador who has a very conversational, easy, approachable tone. You want to have customers, super fans, and community members who have great stories who can endorse your brand to be on the show. However, be careful with who you have as an influencer. Influencers could potentially ruin some of the brand trust you're trying to build by having a podcast. Your listeners are ideally your existing and potential customers who want to connect further with the brand on a more personal level. You can use this content to repurpose it on social media, community groups, or direct outreach campaigns. Having an influencer allows you to partner with that influencer or brand to drive further audience engagement. These shows should be typically between 20 and 30 minutes. Reason number 3. Expand your brand reach. These shows should be hosted by the founder or CEO or your head of marketing. Anybody who can represent the brand voice. Guests on this show should include collaborators, partners, or people in adjacent industries who have a fresh perspective on what it is that you do. Your ideal listener are people who are unfamiliar with your brand, but are interested in your niche or your values. You can reach your audience by cross-promoting your podcast with overlapping audiences, leveraging paid ads or social media or other podcast platforms to help push additional audience. Shows should be between 25 and 45 minutes. Reason number 4, repurpose content. You don't necessarily have to be one of these reasons. You can be multiple of these reasons at the same time. For me, I always repurpose my content. I think that the host, the guest, your listener, how to reach them doesn't necessarily matter. What matters most is the type of podcast. This should be audio and video. That way you have the greatest ability to be able to repurpose the content that you're creating. If you're creating social media clips, make sure that they're less than 3 minutes. That way you can cross-post onto other platforms. In my case, I always put a banner at the end of each one of the clips that I produce from a podcast saying that a new episode is now available. Reason number 5, build partnerships and relationships. Usually this should be hosted by founders or executives, sometimes sales leads if they have the skill to be able to build partner relationship. You should bring in potential partners or customers or other industry leaders who you want to collaborate with. Your audience here is a B2B audience and professionals who value networking and collaboration. You're likely going to reach this audience through LinkedIn and or some sort of newsletter that you put out on a regular basis. These episodes shouldn't be too much longer than 30 minutes. Reason number 6, and I think one of the biggest reasons people are starting to get into podcasting in 2025, it allows you to humanize the brand. It makes your brand fun or relatable or gives it a storytelling skill or quality. People want to know more about who you are and the culture that you foster, and this allows you to do it. Your guests should include your team members or loyal customers or community members who help support what it is that you do. Anybody can find this type of content engaging. So make sure that you're repurposing it as much as possible. This is one that will get you your best bang for your buck. A couple of key points here is just make sure that you have a storytelling and very visually engaging episode. These don't have to be long. 15 minutes is a great length for this. It allows you to cut it down and repurpose it and post across all your social platforms. The next big reason number 7, enhancing customer education. This should be hosted by someone who is an expert in your product. Maybe a customer service team or customer success or subject matter expert who specializes in what it is that you do. Just make sure that these people aren't like a stick in the mud and have a little bit of charisma. For these types of episodes, you don't necessarily need to have an audience. Focus on building a step-by-step guide that is easy for somebody to be able to follow along with. Your listeners are likely going to be the people who use your product already or new people that you've just onboarded. So this can go a long way with helping foster that relationship without having to be super hands-on. Great way to be able to engage with your audience is making sure that you're embedding the video links into like an FAQ page. This also helps with your SEO. Ensure that the videos that you're creating for this aren't too long. 10 to 15 minutes max. Past that, unless it's something that's very technical or really involved, or that you're very good at being able to describe step by step, your audience is going to start losing focus. Reason number 8, boost SEO and online presence. For me, I always embed all of my episodes into my website with show notes. This helps drive traffic by website versus just sending out a YouTube link. Any sort of podcast can be repurposed for SEO purposes. Anything listed above and below can be reused for SEO purposes. Just ensure that you're embedding the information as well as including show notes about the specific episode to allow you to be searchable. Reason number 9. Generate new leads. It's great to be able to reach out to anybody and get them onto a show. Podcasts, I feel, have a relatively laid back approach to them, which allow your guests to be a little bit more at ease. You can have a more informal tone with them as you're doing your discovery steps. I've put out another video about using podcasting for prospecting. The link is in the description below. In these types of episodes, make sure that you are being respectful of that other person's time. So about 40 minutes, knowing that the episode itself is going to take 30 to 35. The last reason number 10, staying ahead of the competition. This should be hosted by the leaders or a rising star in the company with fresh perspectives, allowing you to stay on the cutting edge of your industry. If you're going to have guests, this should include industry disruptors, trendsetters, or other up-and-coming experts, allowing new and fresh perspectives. This type of podcast should be no longer than 45 minutes. Make sure in this type of podcast that you have a very specific agenda attached to the call to ensure that all parties on the call do not get too far off track. Are you ready to launch a podcast? Whether you're looking to educate, engage, expand your brand, now's the time to start. Atozy can help. Subscribe for more insights in brand growth and let your voice be heard.